Well, good morning, everyone. This is John Craig, and I am your second day of the week host for Let Us Reason Together. And that's what you're watching right now. I appreciate you joining me today. And for those that you are in the archives, welcome to you as well. Here we go. So today is June 17th, 2019. It is the 14th day of the third month of Sivan in the Hebrew year 5779. We are living in historical times, and it continues to unfold before us. There's no greater time to live in than now. It is the time that the prophets looked and looked longingly at the time and envious of those like us that live during these times. So think about that. It is an exciting time to be living. Well, this show is based off of Isaiah 118. Come now, let us reason together, says Yahweh. Though your sins are as scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Though they are red like crimson, they will be like wool. So this is where we sit down, reason out our current events, cultural shifts, and of course, this week's Torah portion. We can either push back or push through. Nevertheless, if iron does not sharpen iron, sparks will never fly, let alone ever get a fire going. And without a little heat and a good midrash, how will our hearts ever get soft and moldable enough to be transformed in the way that the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, wants us to be, and maybe have a little fun along the way? And joining me this morning right now is Miss Sandi Craig. Good morning, Sandi.
Good morning. I'm not supposed to be on the show yet.
But you are on the show.
Did you want me to hide for a while? I can go back and hide some more.
Nope, I want you right there.
Because I can just go right over there like I usually hide right there behind the camera.
I know. That's why when I'm looking over the top of the camera here.
And then everybody looks up your nose. Have you ever thought of that?
I can give them a good
bird's
eye view
John.
Right now. No bird's eye view right now. I've been given wisdom by my wife. Don't do it. Don't do it. So, nevertheless, what is today? Well, did you know that today is Air-Conditioned Acknowledgement Day? Air-Conditioned Acknowledgement Day. It's also Old Bachelor Day.
Are you an old bachelor?
I'm not an old bachelor.
Are you an old man?
I'm not an old man. What is old? I think old is relative.
Is relative. So,
I have relatives that are old.
The video's blurry, by the way.
I'm not sure what to do about that.
That's what Deb says. Hey, Joe. Hey, Deb. Joe, is it blurry for you too?
I think that has to do with some other technical issues that are beyond our control. I think it has to do with the service at our house.
Oh, it is a little blurry here too.
Yeah, it always tends to be.
No, that's really blurry.
It is. I don't know why.
Oh, Joe says it looks fine for her.
Okay. All right.
Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, bear with us on it. But at least you got the audio. Hopefully that's the best thing that's going on here. There's a reason for the blur. It's to hide the other stuff going on right here.
What stuff would that be?
I don't know. Maybe it's the sleep in my eyes or something.
Joe says you're goofy just like her husband when you're tired.
Oh, no. That's a good thing then, isn't it?
Joe's husband, you need to get together. We'll just sit back and laugh.
Get together on lack of sleep. See, there's two parts of lack of sleep. You can get goofy or grumpy. Just saying.
Maybe it depends on your audience if you're goofy or grumpy.
Maybe so. Okay. All right. So we talked about Old Bachelor Day. How about Suddenly Repaid Debt Day? And that would be a blessing, wouldn't it?
What?
A suddenly repaid debt.
I like supernatural miracle debt cancellation.
Yeah, suddenly. That's
what I want.
Suddenlies
and Yah does it, and I want that.
Supernatural suddenlies. I like that. How about this? The day when you can and should. The date. I think if you're talking to Miss Sandi Craig, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today.
That should be your motto as well. Your motto is, I will put off tomorrow everything I possibly can.
And 3 weeks too. All right. So moving right along.
It's true.
Too much confirmation here. All right. Hey, by the way, if you're in the chat room, it's a good to have you all in there. And by the way, if you like the show, give us a thumbs up. Somewhere along the way, we like those thumbs ups. That way we can get the analytics moving on our behalf. Okay. All right. So how about this? Global Garbage Man Day. Did you know that you can be a global garbage man? You can be local or you can be global.
Or maybe it just means globally we'll celebrate garbage men.
Oh.
Those who pick up our refuse. So we don't have to take it to the dump ground, wherever that might be, ourselves.
That's right. Or burn it in our backyards.
And start a fire.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Okay. All right. So global garbage man. So give your garbage man a hug. Do you know your garbage man?
Do you?
No, I don't.
I just know they come Tuesdays and Fridays. That's all I know.
That's praise to y'all for that. How about this? National Apple Strudel Day. Yum. How about National Eat Your Vegetable Day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that better.
And I read an article over at Natural News about eating 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. What's that? What's that, Luke? All right.
Okay, folks, I want to tell you what he does. I'll say, John, you need to eat these vegetables. And he'll push them aside. He won't do it, whatever. And he'll have one piece of lettuce or one green bean. And he'll say, that's my serving for the whole week. One, there might be a green pepper or an onion in the dish he's eating. And he'll say, see, I met my servings.
That's got a serving.
That's not a serving. Your wife tells you that all the time.
So National Eat Your Vegetables Day, because Sandi approves of this message. How about this? Ride to Work Day. I ride to work. Did you know I ride to work?
In your own car that you drive.
Uh-huh. So just so you know, I ride to work. Okay. All right. How about Stewart's Root Beer Day? Do you like root beer? How about Stewart's Root Beer?
If I'm not a soft drink person, I'm a water person. But if I have to have a soft drink, which is very bad for you, it messes with your bones and everything else, then it probably would be root beer.
Yeah. I don't like root beer. But I do like those A&W root beer candies, but I don't eat hard candies. Yeah, oh, they were really good. Remember, we went to that restaurant in Denver that one time, and they had the A&W root beer candies. Those were good. All right, just moving right along. A little plug. How about this? World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought. World Day to Combat Desertification and Drought.
I've got the answer to that. Stop sin.
Yeah, that's a good reason right there. How about stop spraying those chemicals in the sky?
Well, maybe that would have to do with taking care of what Yah's given us charge over, and that would sort of fall into that line as well.
Like follow the Torah.
Follow the Torah, and that would stop the
Because
word desertification and drought.
There you go. All right. So follow his instructions. There's just no
By the way,
blessings to that.
Joe and I are sisters here because we have the same tastes and stuff like that. She agrees with me. Root beer, candy things sound disgusting.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Each to his own. You can have your opinion. And
Whatever.
I have mine.
Whatever.
How about this? Take your pet to work week.
Please.
For 5 days starting Monday of the third full week in June.
Dogs could go with you every day.
I'm not taking them to work 5 full days. I get them 3 full days. And I love our animals, but when I do the work that I do, it's like having 2 2-year-olds in the back seat.
But they love it.
They do.
And all they do is sit there.
They do. I had to put them in harnesses because if they see a cat or a dog or something like that, they like jump up. They're all over the front seats. Their claws clawed up my dash. I mean, I'm telling you, they're crazy. No, they're dogs. That's what they are. How about Amateur Radio Week?
I think that's what we're doing.
Is that what because we don't get paid. All right. How about this? National Forgiveness Week. National Forgiveness Week. So If you haven't been walking in forgiveness, it's a good week to start.
I don't think it's a week thing. It's a daily thing.
It's a daily thing.
Minute by minute thing.
And do it all every day as the need arises. How about National Grasslands Week? National Nursing Assistance Week. That's a big job. They should be honored for that. How about this? National Play Catch Week. Will you play catch with me? Our granddaughter plays catch. At least she tries. She's young, very young, but she's working at it.
She's 16 months now.
I know, she's working at it. How about National Roller Coaster Week? Do you like that?
You like roller coasters.
National Roller Coaster Week. How about this? So next time you go on a roller coaster, or you're actually at an amusement park, you say, don't just say roller coaster. You go, I'm going to go on the roller coaster. How about Honor America Days? It's Honor America Day. Observe annually for 21 days starting June 14th. Honor America Days.
You know what?
We're in the midst of that.
We need to see some people have a little bit more something for the country they live in instead of the disdain. If you have disdain for a country, go move to another country.
You know who has the most disdain for a country? Liberals.
I agree.
Leftists.
Go move to another country. Go make your own country somewhere else.
You call me leftists? Yeah. YouTube, you heard me. Okay. Moving right along. I'm just expressing.
Are you sure you wanted me on the show? I think I should go back over there in the corner.
I'm just having expressions today.
No, I don't think you want my commentary.
Is this Expression Day? No. How about National Dairy Month? Hey, did you hear about that story where that IDF soldier got punished because he put dairy with his meat in the same refrigerator? He did. And he did. That happened. It's truly happened. It happened this last week. He, I don't know if he got thrown in the brig or if he lost his privileges for the weekend or something like that. But he put his cheese and his meat or something like that. Maybe his milk and his meat. But they put him in the same refrigerator. And so
I don't think the Torah says do not put them in the same fridge.
He got sanctioned. I think they forgot to read the Torah about Abraham serving those guests. He gave him curds and milk type products
and their meat.
And with the calf, but he did not cook the calf in the mother's milk. He just served them at the same time. There you go. Let's follow what Father Abraham did.
Let's follow the Torah.
Okay, how about this? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not done yet. National Fruit and Vegetable Month. And so that goes along with, what did I say earlier?
Eat your vegetables
day. Yeah, there you go. And National Frozen Yogurt Month. And Sandi, I have to tell you this, likes pistachio yogurt.
I do.
From Orange Leaf.
I do like it a lot. Don't have it very often, but I do like it.
She doesn't, and when she goes to get that, she doesn't put any toppings on it. She doesn't. She's been just getting that alone.
Well,
not mixing it with the other flavors.
You get yours all separated, and then you put all ooey gooey toppings all over, and I like it pure.
So we had a little special dessert yesterday,
and I got some.
And you got pistachio only. It's like plain and dry, like getting a cheeseburger, plain and dry.
No,
plain and dry,
nothing like that.
That's what you got. And then I got my little thing. It's a little carton. You have a 3-way divider, and in one I put coffee yogurt, and in the other one I put cheesecake, and on the other one I put coconut.
I think you should just have them touch and mix them together.
Then I put on top of it Heath Bar crumbles. And then a little bit of coconut sprinklings and a little bit of caramel topping syrup on top.
All that. Ugh.
Oh, it's so good. Well, you ate your pistachio only yogurt. So there you go. How about daily quotes for Monday, June 17th? Daily quotes for Monday. Positive quote of the day. All the world is full of suffering. It is also full of overcoming. Yep, who would say that? None other than Helen Keller. I think she's got a right to say that. What an amazing woman, considering all that she had to walk through. How about this funny quote of the day? This is your cue to laugh. No, after I say it.
Oh.
I found there was only one way to look thin. Hang out with fat people.
Mm-mm.
That's Rodney Dangerfield.
Not laughing at that.
You're not laughing.
Mm-mm.
You know what? That probably goes on the lines of, that's discrimination. You shouldn't say that. That's hate speech. Oh, please, really? Okay, love quote of the day.
You have to do it with
Okay, say it after I say the quote.
only if it's good.
When we find someone whose weirdness is compatible with ours, we join up with them and fall into mutually satisfying weirdness and call it love. True love. Robert Fulgham said that. There you go. That was better than the funny quote of the day.
The funny quote of the day was not funny.
And then you're watching us today and you're saying, yeah, weirdness. Yeah, I see true love. Okay.
Lisa said that she recently found out that Helen Keller's political persuasion was socialist. Ooh, that's not good.
Well, that's sad.
That's really messed up.
Yeah.
Are you having fun?
Yes. Okay.
I don't know if people are having fun listening, but you're having fun, right?
I'm having fun. All right. How about this? Verse of the day, Zechariah 4:6 comes out of the Haftarah portion. Then he answered and spake. Do you spake much? And he answered and spake unto me.
Can you spake a little?
I did spake. I'm not spaking now. I'm speaking now. Because I took this out of the King Jimmy version. Then he answered and spake unto me, saying, this is the word of Yahweh unto Zerubbabel, saying, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith
Woo!
Yahweh of hosts. Now I did little bit of injection there because then when it says Lord, I made it Yahweh.
Do you really need to explain that?
I am explaining it because some people may not get that. It's just, why King Jimmy doesn't say Yahweh? Well, it does actually. They just messed up the words. Okay. What happened on this day in history? Today in history, June 17th. How about this? 12/15 on this day, King Johnny. No, it was King John. King John signed the Magna Carta. That was a big deal.
It is a big deal. But I noticed you didn't bring in my notes that I sent you.
I didn't pull up your notes yet. What did you say on this day?
I don't know. I don't think there's a point for me to help if you're not going to utilize those.
Well, I have to pull it up.
Oh, well, just keep going. It's not important.
It's really moving slow to pull up. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Make it big. It'd be easier. We have these pregnant pauses on your show today.
Pauses today. It's just not going fast enough for me. So
no, don't worry about that. Okay, just forget it. Go back to your deal.
All right. I can't find it. All right. So here we go. Back to my deal. And in 1885, the disassembled Statue of Liberty arrives in the United States on this day. And then also in 1928, remember this lady, Amelia Earhart? She leaves Newfoundland to become the first woman passenger to fly Atlantic as a passenger in a plane piloted by Wilmer Stoltz. So I guess she, in 1928, she was a passenger. And then later, what did she do? She became the first woman pilot to fly across the Atlantic. So a couple firsts that you didn't know about Amelia Earhart. How about famous birthdays today? Did we have some other famous things going on?
We do, but you know what? Here, let me get to the mail that I sent you that you refused to look at. Okay, just hold on a second here, because there are other famous things that happened, and there are.
Oh, there was something I was going to say. Today is the anniversary of, in 1775, the Battle of Bunker Hill, which actually happened on a different hill.
Well, in
Breeds Hill.
1972, there was the arrest of 5 White House operatives, which sets off the Watergate scandal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Bum, bum. In 1943, Baltic states fall under Soviet occupation.
Oh, that was sad.
In 1944, Iceland became a republic.
They did. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, very cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Thank you, Miss Sandy. Miss Sandy Craig. How about this? Famous birthdays? Newt Gingrich and Barry Manilow are 75 today. 75 years young. Hey, we did that together. All right. And also this other person, Venus Williams, famous tennis player, 38. What?
This other person?
This other person. Yeah, it's other person.
It's also Igor Stravinsky's birthday.
Who's that?
Born in 1882. He's a Russian composer.
Igor. My name is Igor. Igor. No, it's
that
Igor. Fun? My name is Igor.
That's weird. That is really weird.
I think that was on Young Frankenstein.
There's some sad things
Mel Brooks show.
There's some sad things that happened today, this day in history too.
What's sad?
Well, people died. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
This day in history.
People did die on this day in history. Yeah, remember that guy Rodney King from the that police brutality situation over in Los Angeles caused some riots and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
He passed away in 2012. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is sad. All right. So, hey, let's move to the lighter side of things. Hey, why am I?
Don't worry about it. Stick to that.
Let's focus.
Connection. Let's focus.
All right. So, all right, we're watching. Okay. All right, we're watching. How about on the lighter side of things, some things that jump-started brain? We've been talking about phobias for the last couple of weeks.
We do phobias last week? I thought we skipped them.
We did do phobias last week.
I wasn't listening to you.
Well, what else is
okay. That is not true. That is not true.
It's the reverse.
Exactly.
Truth on the air. How about this? We talked about. Did we talk about euphobia?
If I didn't listen to you last week, I have no idea.
The fear of hearing good news. We did. I think we did talk about that. How about we talked about the fear of long words. And did we talk about hobophobia? The alarm of being next to immigrants or beggars. You know, that is alarming. How about koinonophobia? The funny fear of rooms.
That's weird.
Like, oh no, I'm going to go to the living room. That's funny. Funny fear. Okay. How about leprophobia? Panic of catching leprosy. Do you ever have a panic of catching leprosy?
I don't know. You should if you gossip.
That goes along with this week's Torah portion, doesn't it? Oh, look at Miriam. I don't want that. Okay. How about linonophobia? Strange phobia of string.
Why would someone be afraid of a string? That is so weird. Oh my goodness, there's a string. Help me.
Run away. Okay, how about this? Logophobia. What would that be? Fear of words.
By the way, people are in a consensus that you need a nap today.
I would love to have a nap today.
But you can't have one.
No. How about this? Lutrophobia. The phobia of otters.
Okay, how many people in their daily walk just come across an otter?
Oh, it's an otter. It's an otter. Okay, how about melophobia? A fear of music.
That doesn't make sense whatsoever.
It's like, turn it off. I'm panicking. Turn it off. Isn't that crazy? I guess it's a real thing. How about this?
Everybody get close. Look.
Nosocomophobia.
Say that 10 times strong.
I will not say it more than that what I've said it. It is the dread of hospitals. Now that could probably be a real thing.
Well, who just even wants to be there?
I know, exactly.
I don't think it's a fear. It's just like, ugh.
How about this? Panophobia. The fear of everything. Just don't make me get out of bed. Wait a minute. I'm afraid of being in bed. Wait, what do I do?
Jo says she has a fear of her kids' music.
There we go.
And Lisa says she has arachnophobia, which I don't like spiders either. And even our great big tall son Jonathan, he doesn't like spiders either. He can handle other things, but what? I already said I don't. Are you trying to stick your finger up my nose? That's weird.
You can only, if you're watching, could you have just seen that? You'll have to rewind it. All right. So, and how about this? One last one, just so that you know, there is always a phobia for a phobia, and that is phobophobia. What is that? It is the fear of developing a phobia.
Who sits around and makes these up? I'm serious. Who sits around and makes these up?
How about psychoanalysts?
What about being delivered and set free by the power of the Holy Spirit, Yeshua HaMashiach, manifest in you? I think we need deliverance. Let's be real. Where did those fears come from? Because he did not give us a spirit of fear, but a power and of love and of sound mind. So therefore, we have authority and dominion because of him. We are his body. He is our head. So we need to get a clue.
So therefore, do not be Torah-phobic.
Yes.
There you go. Yep. Well, good morning, James Meyers from South Carolina. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you all?
We're good. We're so glad that you joined us here this morning.
I'm glad to be here. I've been meaning to ask. We've been praying for Tom. Have you guys heard from him?
I have not heard from Tom. Have you heard from Tom?
No.
No, I was actually thinking about him again this morning.
Except that he's not coming back to the show anytime soon. So,
yeah,
we'll continue to pray. I just was wanting to follow up.
Yeah, continue to pray. I've not heard from anything, and
we just need to pray.
We'll just
him.
continue to pray. Yes. All right. Well, I have. So this is what you're gonna. Here's your homework, James. Just so you know, okay, you'll want to go back and watch the first part of the show,
okay,
and give us a thumbs up. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We're just having a good time here this morning.
But no, really, give us a thumbs up.
All right. So hey, we've got we're ready to go into the first segment. Actually, the next segment of the show this morning, and that is the Torah Portion. Sandy, you've got the Torah Portion, and I'll let you even say the name of it.
You know what? You know what? It's your show.
How about if you said it? If you're going to say it in a West Texas way, Biha.
No,
Alacha.
John, no.
That's what you. If you gave that to the man on the street, that's
what you need to get it right.
Baha'allah. There we go.
All right.
Sorry.
Is it my time yet?
It's your time.
Or did you want to talk some more?
I'm always willing to fill in.
Because you left me 10 minutes.
Oh, you can have more than that.
No.
Go for it.
No, every segment needs its time. I'm a time person. Yes.
Our current events may be shorter today.
No, they won't. You talk long. All right. So let's go to, it starts in, we're going to start with chapter 8 of Numbers, and we're going to look at it. It says, Adonai said to Moshe, tell Aharon, when you set up the lamps, the 7 lamps are to cast their light forward in front of the menorah. And Aaron did this, and he lit his lamps, etc., etc. Other versions would say that when he spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to Aaron and tell him when you mount the lamps. Others say when you set up. So there, but I want us to look at even the word, the name of our Torah portion, because when we break it apart, it's going to give us some insight in really the way we are to approach him. Because when we think of the lamp, what is the lamp? The lamp represents Yeshua. It represents the 7 spirits of Yah. And so it is the 7 spirits of Yah, you know, that we've talked about. Oh, okay. I've talked about before.
You've talked about it before.
Yeah. But there's something about going into his presence. When we think about the menorah, what did the menorah do? The menorah represented Yeshua, represents Yeshua, but it also brought forth light, and it lit up the showbread. And the showbread are the tribes. It's Israel. And we need to think about that the menorah is Yeshua, and the showbread is the 12 tribes of Israel. And what we're about to see is that it's not just about simply lighting the menorah. It's really supposed to be about the way we approach our King. Now, many have heard me before. The biggest problem that we have as a people is that we lack the reverence, the yirah, the fear of Yah when we approach him. How do we approach our King? Well, when you break the word down, it sort of gives us a clue. So that bait prefix really is talking about going in, and then you have the letter hey, which indicating the. So we've got both of those. Alacha, that's a suffix, and it shows something about possession and being possession in yours. But then you have that ALAH, which is related also to Olah. You just have a change in the vowel sounds. But it's talking about going up or ascending or being taken up. So remember that part. Remember, because this is all about the protocol. How do we approach the King? Do we approach him in any manner whatsoever? How do we come into his presence? Do we come into his presence with bitterness in our heart, unforgiveness? Do we just think it's okay just to approach the King however and whatever and however we want to? Well, according to this Torah portion, when you really look at the words and you break things apart, that's not the case, because we need to be careful how we go up. There's always a protocol to the King. If we were to approach the Queen of England, would there be a protocol that we needed to follow? Absolutely. If we were to approach the president, would there be a protocol? Yes, there would be. So when we look at it, it also is talking about more than once. When you look at the form of the word, it's not talking about going up one time. It's again and again and again. How do we approach? And if in the Olah, which I said the ALAH is related to the Olah, just different vowel portions, you can look at its meaning. Not only is it praise, but it's also a technical cause for allegation or accusation against someone. So how we approach our King can basically cause us to be in violation or receive something against us, or we can approach him correctly. Even Adam and Eve, when Mr. and Mrs. Adam, when they approached him, there was a certain protocol that they followed, which we can see further in the language. We don't have time to go into that. But we don't come into the presence of the King in an arbitrary fashion like we do. We need to have fear of Yah. We don't sit there and then invite him into our congregations and our assemblies, and people are worshiping or praying, and we're carrying on our own conversations and doing our own thing. We don't come around and expect him to manifest his glory in our presence when we have our own agendas, when we, come and go as the words being spoken, when we have no reverence whatsoever. What we find, that would sort of be how those who receive the curse approach the King, and it literally affects them. He's not going to come where he's not welcome. But beyond that, it can also be against us, and it can affect our lives. So when the word Olah, whether it's connected to the Olah offering or how the priest goes up, and it's showing that forward light. Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay.
Just thinking.
You're thinking?
I do that once in a while.
What are we covered with? Adam and Eve made leaves from the fig tree. That wasn't the covering they were supposed to have once they sinned. What are we supposed to be covered with? We're supposed to be covered with the blood, but the bride also makes herself ready. If we want to be in the presence of the King, we've got to make ourselves ready. And that doesn't just mean nonchalantly doing it whenever we want. No, we need to make sure we're right in our heart. We need to make sure that we're not carrying everything with us. I always talk about to get into his presence, you've got to go through the eye of the needle. The eye of the needle actually represents, it's not a needle that, people would think it's a needle that you thread, and it's not. The gate was called a needle. And in order for the camel to go through the gate of the needle, the needle itself, he had all of the baggage had to be removed. Everything had to be taken from his back, and he had to get on his knees. And then once all of the baggage, everything that he was carrying with him was removed, and he was on his knees, then he could go through the gate. He could go through the needle and approach and go into the presence. That's what we need to remember. We've got to let go of everything and approach him to go through the eye of the needle. This is about how we approach him. Do we approach him with complaining? Do we approach him with all our baggage with us, or do we let it go? We walk in forgiveness. We forgive our brother. It says when you come to the altar, if there's forgiveness that needs to happen, you better go do it. And then you also come in expectation, because I expect things to happen when we've made ourselves ready. Every time we come into his presence, we should be changed, because the bride makes herself ready. So is how you approach the king going to be a blot on your life? Is it going to bring an allegation against you? Or is it going to be a praise? Is it going to be the proper approach to in the presence of the king? There's a lot more, but there's time issue.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting. I was just thinking about a lot of different things, how people don't really respect the presence of Yah. And that protocol is so important, especially in our assemblies, because one of the things that I think, and I'm going to use these terms, so don't crucify me for it, but some things that the church, parts of the church actually get and understand, and that is protocol. Because
most people, the Hebrew roots, don't understand it either.
During those churches that are out there, our brothers and sisters in Messiah, when they have worship, there are assemblies that are very, very powerful, where the presence of God actually does come and fill that place, because he's enthroned upon our praises. And because when they praise, then people respect that. There's not people running around and talking and stuff. And I understand there's times
during services, during times.
No, I'm just saying that, certain functions of the body, you have to run to the restroom, but you're respectful if you have to leave the room and come back in.
But even if you can hold it at the movie, you can hold it during the
and some people can't. I'm just saying that does happen. But on the other hand, is that there's a complete respect for that time, because it is all about giving the full focus of the entire congregation as one body, as a chad, as they did in the upper room. Their full focus was on one thing. That's how they knew they were all together as one. And until the Hebrew roots people, Messianics, whatever you want to call it in your Torah studies, if you want the presence of God to really come and saturate the place that you're in, you have to learn this protocol.
And to me, what I've found in going to different Hebrew roots Messianic congregations, they have no idea how to approach the king.
And we're not trying to be critical.
No, we're being truthful.
We're being truthful, honest. And we're trying to give constructive wisdom.
I've never seen such lack of reverence in groups as I see in the Messianic Hebrew roots movement.
They're just singing songs right now, so we can kind of do our own thing. No, you don't do that.
It is ridiculous. It's sad.
This is about our King. We're giving praise and honor to him. And it comes to a point of, and when the people are in a chad, we've seen this in our own congregation, when there's not that disruption going on, when the people are focused, guess what happens? There is something that happens in the presence of God comes into place, that it can come to such reverence, where the silence is deafening because he is there. You don't want to even make a sound, because his awesome sovereignty has come and filled the place.
Or his majestic glory falls, and people are so overcome in the power of the Holy Spirit, and people are delivered and set free and healed just in the midst of worship, just in the midst of of the word being brought forth because his presence is so heavy. But what we see is just a form. People wanting to walk around and get information and give nothing back. They have no reverence for Yah. They say they do, but their actions speak far differently.
Yeah. So, yeah.
We probably should let James talk.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
The one thing that I did notice, or that I've noticed, is that if you look at the congregation or the churches today, we have lost that whole entire, just the fact that we are there worshiping our Creator. We should look like that. We should. The biggest thing that I see is that it's almost like it's just another thing that we go to we're in school or whatever. We don't set it apart. We don't go there as if we are about to stand in front of the Creator of heaven and earth. If we did, then we would act like it. But the thing is that today it's not, the fear of Yahweh is not taught, and there's so much that we're missing. Also, if they think that if the Old Testament's done away with, then guess what? There's no learning how to be a priest under the Levitical priesthood, so that we can understand what it means to be a priest under the Melchizedekian priesthood. There's just so much that we're lacking. But we are truly. It's time that we do get back on that path.
Well, and I think, and here's where I think the church gets it better than we do when it comes to approaching the King. I'm not saying every place, but the congregations and the assemblies that we call church, in what I've seen in the places that we've assembled, for instance, those that have houses of prayer, Christ for the Nations, places that there's other places and assemblies, they get it. It's the Hebrew roots Messianic people that, I'm not saying every church gets it, but the church gets it far better than those of us that identify the way we do. Yeah. We have no clue. Every time people come into our congregation from other groups, and they basically sometimes hold their own service in the midst of ours anyway. But it's not just there. I've seen it everywhere I go. People have no respect for Yah in this movement. And it is, and I hate the word movement, but
it's a community.
It's community, and it's really sad.
Well, and people come in, they go, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a while," so they start. No, the time to communicate.
Don't
fellowship,
steal somebody's worship.
Yeah, it's stealing from somebody else's worship. But that's dishonoring. And there's time to come early and fellowship, or stay a little bit later. Don't just run out the door as soon as it's over. But that time where the people have assembled and are in the midst of worship, then don't rob our King of what's due him, let alone rob someone else of their worship towards him by distracting them.
What are we covered with? Are we covered with our own agendas, our own ways? Are we covered by the blood? And our desire is to be in his presence and to be to give unto him what's due him.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're ready to go into the next segment, which is our news and how it relates to this week's Torah portion. Well, I've got an article here. It's very simple, and it's stuff that's been going on, but it really ties in with what happened with Miriam. So let's talk about this. Miriam is also part of this week's Torah portion. So, and the article is, I got this one from zerohedge.com, and it's U.S. government's entire Russia-DNC hacking narrative is based on a redacted draft of a Crowdstrike report. So let's break this down. First off, Crowdstrike is the company that was hired by the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, to go in and check their servers to find out how WikiLeaks got all the information that they got. And so Crowdstrike made a report. Well, the report they gave was just simply the first draft. It was also redacted. They didn't give the full report over to the U.S. government. That is the FBI and all that sort of stuff. So basically, all of this Russia collusion narrative that's been going on is based on a report from these cybersecurity experts that were hired and were paid, I think, $100,000 to go in. No, they were paid over $1 million, okay, to go in and figure out what was going on. And then they refused to hand over the real information to the FBI. So here's what the article says. It's been known for some time that the U.S. government based its conclusion that Russia hacked the DNC, the National Democratic National Committee, on a report by cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike, which the DNC paid over $1 million to conduct forensic analysis and other work on servers they refused to hand over to the FBI. So the FBI was requesting the information because the FBI has a responsibility to bring out truth. So they only handed out. So let's go on here. The CrowdStrike's report made its way into a joint FBI Department of Homeland Security report on a Russia grisly step. That's what they called it, which concluded Russia hacked the DNC servers. I mean, that's what we hear every single day from the mainstream media. At the time, CrowdStrike's claim drew much scrutiny from cybersecurity experts, according to former Breitbart reporter Lee Stranahan. Now, thanks to a new court filing by longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone requesting the full CrowdStrike analysis, we find that the U.S. government was given a redacted version of the report marked draft, as reported by the conservative Treehouse. Now, Roger Stone right now is under criminal indictment, and he is defending himself, and so they are requesting information, and they filed to the court saying, hey, this is holding information that could possibly exonerate Roger Stone. So going on, let's make some sense of it. What makes the whole thing even more hokey is a footnote admitting that counsel from the DNC and DCCC informed the government that they are the last version of the report produced. So this draft that they gave, that they redacted a whole bunch of information from, is the last report. So moving right along. So to be clear, the entire narrative that Russia hacked the DNC is based on a redacted draft of a report which CrowdStrike appears not to have even finalized. So the DOJ informed the court it doesn't have the unredacted CrowdStrike reports. So they're saying, we don't have that to give to Roger Stone because we don't have the unredacted part. Well, this is really big news, because going on, it says, and the conservative Treehouse notes, this means the FBI and DOJ and all of the downstream claims by the intelligence apparatus, including the December 2016 Joint Analysis Report, January 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment, all the way to the Weissman-Mueller Report, and the continued claims therein were based on the official intelligence agencies of the U.S. government and the U.S. Department of Justice taking the word of a hired contractor for the Democratic Party. So despite their inability to examine the server and or actually see an unredacted technical forensic report from the investigating contractor, the entire apparatus of the U.S. government just took their word for it and used the claim therein as an official position, which led to a subsequent government claim in court of absolute certainty that Russia hacked the DNC. So think about that for a few minutes.
Well, bottom line, the DNC was never hacked.
So, yeah, well, and so it was never hacked. Meanwhile, the CrowdStrike analyst who led the forensics on the DNC servers is a former FBI employee who Robert Mueller promoted while head of the agency. It should also be noted that the government of Ukraine admonished CrowdStrike for a report they later retracted and amended, claiming that Russia hacked Ukrainian military. So, in other words, CrowdStrike's had a history of giving false information that leads to wrong conclusions. And that happened in the Ukraine, and Ukraine caught them on it. So here's my take. It's just like Miriam questioning Moses' authority and position. It could have brought down the entire nation. Well,
it still is working on that.
Guess what? The government's stance on Russia hacking the DNC servers is based on a rumor and not evidence. It's hearsay.
And it's a lie. And people spread the lie. Don't they do that now?
Well, yeah.
To destroy reputations and people. And
yes. So all of these, the result makes all the accusations against President Trump and associates based on hearsay. Why? To ruin their reputation. They didn't. Well, we don't mean to ruin his reputation, but
Yeah, they
after
do.
all,
That's a lie.
and then, but this CrowdStrike report are the legs of the entire platform of accusation. There's no proof provided. And that's why it's been brought into question, because in order to hack means you're having to use internet sources, and the amount of information that had to be transferred, that there is absolutely not there's not enough time to be able to get that information. It could not be hacked. It had to be downloaded onto a thumb drive, which would have been a much faster process. This is what the technical experts have been saying. So these false accusations were meant to bring down a duly elected president and his associates. I mean, these people that have been framed, I'm going to say framed, for obstruction of justice and in part of this Russian hack, so to speak, they've been bankrupted. Their whole life savings have been completely gone into their own defense. And in fact,
We understand that.
yeah. So false accusations could, when the truth is revealed, it could bring down the entire deep state apparatus.
Well,
So this could actually bring, when they bring these things out, and that's what the Roger Stone defense is going to do. It's going to show this whole apparatus was based on a farce and hearsay, and yet the whole government based their whole defense on that, or their whole investigation based on that. The whole the Congress, the Senate, their investigations were based on a false narrative. And so there you go. There's some just different things that this report's come out to bring. And so I just want to talk about, James, what do you think about this information that's come out about this CrowdStrike not even giving the full information to the DOJ, but the DOJ still building a whole narrative based on an incomplete report?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Benghazi and the different things that were going on. The DOJ is basically, it's just become an arm to whatever hack is in the president, whoever's in the Oval Office at that time. We look at, our government has become so corrupt that nothing surprises me anymore whatsoever. But the Bible warned us about this. Yahweh warned us that there were going to be leaders who were going to come together and they were going to have one goal, and their goal was going to be to raise up Hasatan in the last days. And that's what's going on. And the thing is that we have been so deceived into believing a lie that, we've fallen into believing that we really matter when it comes to us voting. And that the fact that Trump is as a president right now is only by Yahweh's hand, because I do not believe that we voted him in. I believe that Yahweh made but at the end of the day, our government is so corrupted. But it's been like that. If you can go back to the Library of Congress and read where George Washington was accused of being a part of the Illuminati. That's a real thing. And George Washington writes this guy back and says, no, not me, but John Adams and their Freemasons group have been infiltrated. It's been going on that long. So for us to be surprised today in 2019 that our government's corrupt, it's crazy.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of times, how much do we go through life just thinking everything's going to be okay? And yet here we are as it's our responsibility to read reports like this, to actually go beyond, to do that additional research. But the important thing is that if there is a time that America be struck with leprosy, so to speak, wow, what a time that we're living in right now. Like what happened to Miriam. If a nation would want to come and destroy the reputation of a duly elected president, Sandi, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think that evil is out there, and that it's the same tactic that was tried with Korach, with, even Miriam and Aaron, when they approached Moses, you're trying to take the power and the authority. And ultimately we know that the enemy is the spirit in his kingdom, is what is moving the masses. And I would even say on both sides, but specifically those that would try to take us further and further and further away from Yah in this nation. And that includes the liberal side, as well as the deep state, all of that other. And of course they're everything they do is built on lies. Let's not be real. The media says lies, complete made up lies every day about those who try to do good and those who are good. And so do our government, so do even local things. But I am one who does believe that there is a good part of this nation that still, our voices still try to stand up for truth. And I do believe that Trump actually won more. I personally believe Trump won more votes than he actually got, because then there's actually even known, because I believe that the ballot boxes and all that stuff, I mean, there's fraud that happened in there. I do believe, especially the center, you look at the sides, the East and the West Coast, they're messed up. But you look in the middle of the nation and you have a people that do try to stand up for truth. And if you look at the map, it's the pockets in the cities that have been so infiltrated with liberal dogma and liberal people and socialism. Those are the areas and corruption. Those are the areas that try to skew the whole nation. Yeah. And that's why they want to get rid of the Electoral College, to make everything uneven. So folks, please, we need the Electoral College. That's what causes, like California wouldn't be able to decide, that California and New York wouldn't be able to decide who's in. But it's not a new tactic, just as James said. This has been going on always. It's just very loud and clear, because now there's so many that want evil to happen. They want destruction. And so that is the voice that seems to be the loudest. But again, we are to be his people, that our voices should be louder, because we utilize it, and we should be on our face, because if every one of us would do that, greater is he who is in us than he who is in the world.
It really comes down to this. I want to be the leader. No, I want to be the leader. Oh, you can't be the leader.
But it's beyond the leader. It's, I want to destroy anything that represents, that even was founded. This nation was founded on something different initially. I'm not talking when the Illuminati came in. It was founded on something differently when people came over. They even celebrated the feast. They did that. That has, because of its very foundation, the enemy wants every part of it, and every vestige of this nation and Israel, every part of anything that would, any voice that would stand up and say, Yehovah is Yah. It wants it silenced, destroyed, annihilated, and removed. And there's still great pockets of people that do that here. Thus, they want them silenced and removed, and they're doing everything they can to do that.
People want, and this is what's going on, is where you have the evil going on. They lost their voice, and therefore they wanted to insert their voice again through corruption. And that's similar. That's not necessarily what Miriam did. She goes, but we hear from God too, is what she said. But essentially, she was demeaning the voice that Moses had, and that's exactly what's happening here, in such an inflated sense of corruption. And so, just thought that was very interesting. It really does relate, and we're ready to move on to our next segment. James, you've got the Haftarah Brit Hadashah. Where are you taking us today?
Basically, we're going to go read Zechariah. Starting off with Zechariah 2, or we'll start off with Zechariah 3. Then he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the Malach, or the angel of Yahweh, and Hasatan standing at his right hand to oppose him. And Yahweh said to Hasatan, Yahweh rebuke you, Hasatan, and Yahweh who has chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. Is this not the brand plucked with the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments and was standing before the angel. And he answered and spoke to those who stood with him, saying, take away the filthy garments from him. And to him he said, see, I have removed your iniquity from you, and I will clothe you with rich robes. And I said to them, let them put a clean turban on his head, and the clean turban on his head. And they put the clothes on him. And it goes on to talk about the the coming branch, the angel of Yahweh admonished, that Joshua, just there was so much packed into this half Torah portion. The one thing that I love is the fact that we're seeing Joshua, and if you understanding that Yeshua is the Aramaic form of the name Yehoshua, which Yehoshua is Joshua in Hebrew. So we are seeing Yeshua's name here, and then we see the coming branch, or we're seeing that he's basically washed clean. He's basically put new garments on, which is exactly what's going to happen to us as we read in Revelation that we're going to be clothed with new garments. Those who are found in the book of life. But we see that Yeshua is our high priest. He is, and it speaks of him here. Yet there's so many today that say that Yeshua is not the Messiah. But one thing I do believe is there was a true reason why they changed his name to Jesus. Because if they would have kept it Yeshua, then anybody who read the book of Zechariah would have understood that the two were the. You know what I mean? Hasatan does everything to corrupt the word of God, anything to keep us deceived. The one last thing I wanted to mention was it says, if you will walk in my ways and if you will keep my command, then you shall also judge my house and likewise change my courts, and I will give you places to walk among these who stand here. Hear, O Joshua, the high priest, you and your companions who sit before you, for there is a wondrous sign. For behold, I'm bringing my servant the branch. For behold, the stone. Yeshua is the stone the builders rejected. He is the stone of stumbling, the stumbling block. That even today, there's many who stumble at the name of our Messiah. This was just so much, and I know I'm kind of rambling, but just looking at this right here, for me, I don't see how people can't see Yeshua being our Messiah. You can just read Zechariah, but we know that Judah had to be blinded so that we could come back. Those who were lost could be brought back into the fold, and eventually they will see. Our brothers and sisters in Judah will see that He is our Messiah, and hopefully we will all be united. I know we'll all be united. The two sticks become one. But just the book of Zechariah, like I said, it's amazing. It's an awesome book.
All right. That's good, James, when you're talking about that. And when it talks about Joshua and the clothes that he's wearing, and we look at Joshua in that position of high priest, we can also look at him as the representative of the people. And isn't that what Yeshua did? Is that he bore all of our filthiness, all of our filthy rags, and he carried that as a representation. And then was all of that soiling that was on us was put onto him, and then all of that was washed away. And what greater testimony of our King is that? And I'm in agreement with you, James. How can you not see Yeshua in this Torah portion? How can you not see that he is truly Savior, Lord, King of the universe? And it's right here. It's right here in this Torah portion. And he bore not only how he bore our robes of righteousness, or of our unrighteousness, and yet he was given the authority to rule. He was established as king, in this case, our high priest. What an amazing story. What an amazing story. Any last thoughts on that?
No, just the awesome thing is that our Messiah is coming back soon, in my opinion, and we see it. We see what's going to be the fulfillment all throughout the Word.
All right. Well, very good, James. Thanks for bringing the Haftarah portion today. I certainly appreciate that. You joining us on Let Us Reason Together, and Sandi, I appreciate you joining with me this morning and actually bantering with me from the very beginning. That was nice. So, well, with that said, this kind of wraps it up for us today on Let Us Reason Together. And so if you like the show, give us a thumbs up, share it in your social media, let people know if there's things in here that you want to pass on the word. Pass it on, let people know about Let Us Reason Together and the other things happening on the Lamb Network. Also, want to mention this. here at Life of Worship in Amarillo, Texas, we are hosting a Sukkot for our region. And
Well, no, for
not just our
everyone.
region, it's everyone. So if you want to join us,
what's the name?
Tell us the name.
Fire, Water, and Wine, Walking in Spirit and Truth.
Fire, Water, and Wine.
You can go to our website. I'm going to have an application up, but anyway, soon. But if you are interested, we will be camping out at a beautiful Lake Paladuro and close to Spearman, Texas. And it is going to be a great time. And we would love to hear from you. If you're interested, drop us a line at Life of Worship, LOW at lifeofworshipamarillo.org. And we would love to hear from you. Also, join us tomorrow night for Walking in Spirit and Truth at 8:00 Central.
Yeah. And this is, by the way, it's a beautiful campground. It's just gorgeous. So if you'd like to come and join us, we would love to have you. So let us know. Well, with that said, thank you again, James, Sandi, for joining me today on Let Us Reason Together. And we will be back next week, y'all willing. And until next time, shalom.